In a democracy, voters elect members of parliament called MPs to represent their interests. MPs have only temporary mandates and are accountable to voters. Voters do not have to re-elect them and the parties they might belong to if they do not deliver on their promises. Most MPs belong to a political party and represent their party in Parliament. MPs that do not belong to a political party and are elected as individuals in their own right are called independents. The roles and functions of MPs. MPs are primarily responsible for ensuring that the work of Parliament is done. They should ensure that Parliament provides a forum for debating important national issues, passing laws, and holding the executive branch of government accountable. In detail, MPs have many responsibilities. Legislation. MPs debate, pass, or reject laws that are drafted by the executive branch of government. Occasionally, MPs also draft their own laws called private members' bills. Their key role is to ensure that the laws passed by Parliament are in line with the country's constitution and will improve the lives of citizens. MPs play an important representative role by providing a link between government and the people. MPs are tasked with consulting citizens and representing their views in Parliament. However, the way that an MP represents people's views depends on the type of electoral system in a country. In South Africa, we have a proportional representation, or PR system, in which voters vote for a political party and not for an individual MP. That means, in reality, many MPs represent the interests of their political parties first and foremost. The party chooses which of their party representatives will sit as MPs in Parliament. MPs are then accountable to their parties. In this type of system, it is difficult for MPs to consult or represent a particular group or area of people or constituency. To try to solve this dilemma, many countries with PR systems, like South Africa, have introduced constituency work for their MPs. We explain the role and function of political parties in more detail in our video, What are Political Parties? Constituency work. South African MPs have been allocated a constituency area or town by their political parties. MPs are required to do constituency work during specific times of the year. During these constituency periods, MPs have a duty to be available to the public, help solve problems, and report back to their constituents on what is happening in Parliament. Oversight and accountability. MPs also scrutinize and oversee the work of the executive and hold cabinet ministers and the president accountable. This includes regular questions which these executive members must respond to in Parliament. MPs also sit on parliamentary committees which oversee the work and spending of government departments. Debates. MPs participate in parliamentary debates, which are usually made public through the media. This helps to inform and instruct citizens about government policy and important current political issues. South Africa's MPs. South Africa has 3 types of elected representatives. Firstly, MPs at the national level sit in the National Parliament, which has 2 houses or chambers: the National Assembly, which represents the entire country, and the National Council of Provinces, which represents the interests of the provinces. There are 400 MPs in the National Assembly and 90 MPs in the National Council of Provinces. We explain what Parliament is in more detail in our video, What is the Legislature? Secondly, each province also has its own assembly, called a provincial legislature, with varying numbers of members called MPLs, depending on the population of the province. Thirdly, South Africa also has representatives at the local level of government, called councillors, forming municipal councils. We explain the types and functions of councillors in more detail in the Civics Academy Local Government series. All MPs are in powerful positions and can influence important laws and decisions that affect millions of people. There may be times when their personal or business interests conflict with their ability to look after the public interest. Therefore, all elected MPs, MPLs, and councillors must record their personal business and outside interests in a public register so that citizens can monitor any unethical or corrupt behaviour. Summary: MPs are elected representatives, must act in the public interest, and are accountable to the citizens. You can find out who your party MP is in your area and contact them about issues that affect you. Remember that you must contact parliamentary MPs for national issues, MPLs for provincial issues, and your local councillor for concerns that relate to your immediate area.